Teaching history, learning citizenship is all about helping students learn about historical events, engage in historical thinking, and participate in their classroom environment, the communities they live in, and standing up for what they believe in. This book provides ways to make those things happen for your students. Two quotes that I really like from this book that help summarize what it's all about is first this one by Dr. Noakes. Active and informed citizenship requires knowledge, skills, and dispositions, and Dr. Noakes goes through those three things throughout his book. And also this one by W.C. Parker. It says citizens need to both know democratic things and to do democratic things. The layout of this book would be a great tool for teachers to use when preparing to teach. There are 6 parts to the book, and each part has a different theme relating to civic engagement. Within each part contains a few chapters. There are 13 chapters, and each chapter introduces knowledge, or in other words, a historical event relating to civic engagement that students can study to nurture their understanding of an event, a skill, which includes cognitive and social skills that are used to nurture historical thinking, and a disposition, or way that students can act in their community and society to be more civically engaged. Dispositions are the hardest of the 3 to nurture in the classroom, mainly because they are hard to assess in the classroom, whereas knowledge and skills are easier to assess. There are some ideas provided in this book that could be very useful for social science teachers when it comes to knowledge, skills, and especially dispositions. This figure shows the layout of the book. On the left-hand side, we have the knowledge section, or in other words, the lesson that is outlined in each chapter. Dr. Noakes provides background knowledge on each historical event and lesson ideas, including historical questions, how to nurture a social or cognitive skill within the lesson, how to incorporate group work, primary and secondary sources, and an idea for a graphic organizer you could use as a teacher. In the middle column, we have the skills for each chapter. Chapter 1 provides an overview of what these skills are and how they relate to helping students become more civically engaged. The skills include corroboration, historiography, contextualization, historical empathy, historical perspective taking, change in continuity, ethical judgment, argumentative writing, analyzing photographs, contextualization through analogy, identifying historical significance, and sourcing. The third column are the dispositions for each chapter. These dispositions include defending the rights of others, uniting with like-minded peers, compromise, diplomacy, and working with adversaries, demonstrating disapproval, and civil disobedience. This book provides a great start for teachers as they begin to help their students learn and engage in history while using tools for civic engagement, but this book cannot be relied on alone. Overall, I think there are more strengths to this book than weaknesses, as this book not only helps teachers understand the importance of creating a culture of civic engagement for their students, but it is also an exciting, motivating book to read as a future teacher, realizing the impact you will have on your students as they prepare to vote and participate in various ways within society. I think one of the biggest strengths of this book is how it is set up. This book is set up really well to help teachers easily navigate each chapter and how it could help nurture historical thinking within the classroom. As mentioned before, each chapter provides a lesson plan and a skill that can be used for that lesson. For example, in this chapter, the skill that is introduced for students to learn is change in continuity, and that skill can be nurtured by teaching a lesson like this one on the Civil Rights Act. As you can see here, this is an entire section on the skill change in continuity and how you could teach this skill and use this skill in your classroom. Along with help in each chapter on how to teach the different skills, each chapter provides primary and secondary sources with information on how you could use these sources as an activity in your classroom to help students engage in the different skills. Another strength in this book is the use of relatable questions given in each section of the book. Before introducing a set of new skills, a few questions are provided as suggestions you could use to help students identify how these skills and historical events relate to their own lives. This is a great idea for helping students act on what they are learning. Each chapter also provides clear definitions for each skill given, which really helps the reader understand how to use these skills in a classroom setting. These definitions could be a great tool as a teacher by putting the definitions up on the board or on a poster so that the students can always see the skill in case they forget how to use the skills in activities in class. One of the weaknesses of this book is there's not much research that has been done to prove that these skills that are given in this book strengthen civic engagement when used in the classroom. I think that this book could benefit from more research that backed up the ideas that Dr. Noakes provides for helping students become more civically engaged. The second weakness I noticed is there's no real-life examples of students participating in these activities and how they responded to those activities. I think it would be great to read examples of teachers that tried out these lesson plans and learn from the experiences the teachers and students had. There are a couple contributions to our understanding of topics from this semester that stood out to me in this book. The first one is cultural curriculum. Each chapter provides different ways on how to nurture students' ability to think historically by starting small and building on the knowledge students have. Each lesson plan provides modifications to best meet the needs of the students, especially since students come from all different backgrounds with different values. The second one is alignment between the objectives, assessments, and methods. This book provides so many different ideas and resources that connect each skill to each objective and the assessments when determining how students are improving when using different historical thinking skills. There are so many ways this book could help you as a teacher and help your students. This book provides ideas for your unit and lesson plans with ideas of questions, sources to use, and discussions you could have with your students. You could even plan a lesson and use this book to figure out what skill would be best to teach with the lesson you planned. This book could also be used as a guide when determining how well your students are understanding the skills you are trying to teach them. This book also provides clear definitions for each of the skills you will be using with your class. You could use the definitions from this book to display for your students to see when they are learning the skills at the beginning of the year.
There are many activities provided in the book. Each chapter alone has an activity with a lesson outline that you can follow. But some other ideas I had while I was reading this book were to, at the beginning of the school year, and you could even do this at the end of the school year, provide modern examples for your students to use while nurturing the different meta concepts in the book. So for example, you could start out the year by introducing the topic of corroboration by giving students different opinions on the mask mandate and having them read different sources and the different opinions of political leaders and the public. You could even help students understand change and continuity or ethical judgment and analyzing photographs by teaching students a lesson on storming the Capitol. There are so many other modern examples you could use, but I think that these skills not only will help students understand historical events, but as you give them examples of modern day events that have happened, students will be able to relate to them more and better understand these meta concept skills. I totally recommend this book. I give it 5 stars for sure. Not only will it help your students better understand how to analyze history, create arguments, and find evidence to back up their claims, but it provides so many helpful tools for you as a teacher when you're trying to plan lessons to help students with civic engagement. 100% recommend it.